What is going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and in this video we're going to take a look here at the S&P 500. We're going to look at what has happened in today's session and what is next, how we can position ourselves, and just said some really common sense to what is going on and figure out how to take advantage of it. Before we do that, there's a couple of charts that we're going to take a look at also. You can see here, this is the S&P. You can see this is in red here. This is the current financial crisis and rebound. Now that you could compare this to in gray over here, what it looks like with all other bear markets. Okay. Now a severe bear market. All right. Now I want you to focus in on one thing. You could see, first of all, the steepness of this fall is obviously a lot sharper and faster than anything we've seen before, and so far has been the rebound, okay? But I want to give you a little bit of perspective. Here's what happened during the crash of 1929. You could see that we also came down and then came up. Everyone thought it was over, right? Everyone thought we were going to be returning to normal. And then not only did we test the lows, by the way, this was about 5-6 months later that we retested the lows. You can see here things are accelerated a little bit faster. And then once we took out the lows from then on in. All right, I want you to keep that in the back of your mind as we begin to look at the charts right now, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at where we were this morning, and then we're going to figure out where we are right now. You could see, and I don't want to peek too far to the right just yet. By the way, this is the S&P 500 you're looking at. This is a CFD, whether or not you're trading the ES, the SPY, the SPX. This analysis is going to give you the tool that you need to go ahead and see what's going on and trade accordingly. This morning on the live stream, we woke up and price was exactly like this. I drew in this trend line over here and this one down here. And I said to everybody, I'm sorry, that's not even true. Let me refocus. Let me really show you what's going on before we move forward so that you could be on the same page as I am. This trend line over here that we're following, right? Below this trend line, our bias really changes sharply bearish. Now I'm going to explain to you why the sell-off happened today, and I'm going to show you how the charts saw it ahead of time. And I want you to be able to, if you're not yet in a position, to be able to see how that you might have the opportunity to get into one, as well as I want you to understand in the future what you should be looking for in a similar situation. Now this trend line over here we're using as our guide. If we do break this to the downside, at that point the bearish momentum is really accelerating and we are looking to attack. But that does not mean that we are not looking to short. On the contrary, let me unfold for you what is happening. I cloned this line. You could see it's light over here and up here. This morning, since it's in play, I highlighted it, made it a little darker. Now the futures were up almost 0.5% this morning. Everyone was thinking, all right, we're going to have another bullish day. The markets are going to keep going up forever and make new all-time highs. And I just cautioned everyone. We were looking here on the 15-minute chart at the time, and I said, look, you have this trend line right here that we're coming up into, which is resistance, and at the same time, this light resistance at 29.47. Be careful. Be careful. Probably will be rejected. If we get above it, we'll look for longs, and we'll look for longs up until the resistance up ahead. What level is that? Let me back out for 1 second. Stay with me. This is really gonna be something that's gonna click for you today. If we were to get above that little bit of this trend line over here, which is providing resistance, following my mouse, you could see it, and it came in all the way around 29.45 this morning. And then this light horizontal, and it's light because I checked it back and it's not connecting anything strong. It was just a light resistance as a guideline, right, at 29.47. I said if we get above those two, we have a long opportunity up into the resistance and maybe above of 29.72. But not until we get above there, because what we were looking at resistance, this trend line resistance and that horizontal resistance. And then what I did, we started actually bouncing off of that resistance that was on the 15-minute time frame. This is setting up for what's next. We were looking at this in the live session together, and then I drew in these two lines. And I said, all right, here's what you could recognize. You could see that we are actually making lower highs and higher lows. Now, we started last night off and we were in no man's land. We were in no man's land between the support at 28.89 and the resistance above at 29.72, and we were just dead center. But now since what we've gone ahead and done is made lower highs and higher lows, and we're consolidating, and now we could draw this little bit of two trend lines in, and if we get a break either way, then we could either play it down into the support at 28.89, or we could play it up into the resistance above at 29.72. Now, we were trading within the range, not looking to buy and trade within that small little narrow range. We were waiting for a breakout. But then what happened was the Senate introduced a bill sanctioning China. The Senate introduced a bill to sanction China for the treatment of the Muslims, and the market obviously reacted accordingly. Now, we talked about in yesterday's video that the geopolitical tensions, specifically between China and the United States, were starting to get a little bit hot, and they continue to escalate. This morning, the White House said that the president has no interest in renegotiating a phase one deal. Actually, the president probably is interested in taking a harder line stance going into the election as a way to drum up support. And then if he is reelected, for sure he's going to come down even harder. So you could expect further tension between not only from the U.S. side, but also from the Chinese side, who is looking to make the U.S. also a common enemy. So things are not looking good over there. Once the Senate reintroduced this bill, the market broke down, and this is where I want to bring you into real time. It broke down outside of this, came back up, tested it. Now, I was watching this on the 30-minute, and I have to be honest with you. You can't get every trade, and sometimes you miss good ones, and it hurts when you miss a good trade. And this was the case. It doesn't matter what was going on over here with me. That's irrelevant. The point was that I missed this trade, and it's something. It was the perfect time of day. If I was actively in front of the machine and looking to trade, I have to be honest. It's something that I would have really liked to take. Of course, I would have been looking first for a target of 28.89, but I always set my stop loss right away. I never set my take profit. The reason I want to talk about this is because you can't take every trade. It's not possible. This one hurts because it's one that I would have and should have taken. So that leaves me outside of a trade that I wish I was in, and I need to reevaluate with you what I'm going to do right now. So let's fast forward to the present time right now. And I hope you understand. If you were with us in the live stream this morning, you know exactly what I was talking about as I walked everyone through exactly what was happening. And then I left us with the game plan that if we break down out here, we're looking to a test of the support at 28.89, or if we break above, we're looking to take that, looking for the test of the resistance above at 29.72. All right, we broke through. Not only broke through, again, just keep this in mind for your own personal trading. Whenever I take a trade, I automatically have my stop loss in, and I do not have my take profit in. I'm looking for the first area of support or resistance. That's normally where I move my stop loss to break even and then monitor the trade to see if it pushes through the level. We've crushed through not only the strong support at 28.89, we're going to flip that to resistance in a second. We've now come into this light support at 28.58. What's going to happen here? I don't know. What I'm interested in is how I could get into this trade. Now, back up a second. This over here, this trend line, this is the line that we're looking for. We are still looking now as, listen, things have changed. When I say things have changed, I mean that risk is now coming into the market. Things are heating up between the US and China. That's very real. The market is now beginning to realize it. And it's not even considering yet what is going on with the state of the economy and what reopening looks like. All right, that's not even being considered right now. This action right now is specifically from the escalation between the US and China And today it was the US who fired a shot. All right? Now, what is next? Am I bullish or bearish? Well, right now, again, outside, watch the price action. This, first of all, yesterday we were in no man's land. And then since price consolidated, what happens? Consolidation, expansion. Now we're expanding out. I'm not in the trade. I wish I was in the trade. This one hurts. Now, what could I do? Am I looking for us to come back up and test the 289 broken support as resistance? Well, that would be a dream. I don't think that's going to happen. If it does, yeah, that's something I'm very interested in taking advantage of. Do I think we're going to lose this 280? Excuse me. Do I think we're going to lose the 2858 support right here? This light support? Probably. And so if we do that, if we do lose this support over here, and we come back up and we test that one, am I looking to take this trade, which is about, I'm going to call it probably somewhere around 2852 up until the trend line support of 2820? Yeah, that's a trade that I'm interested in and I'm not looking to take profit. Now, if we break this trend line, I'm actually going, if I could get into a trade over here or somewhere over here. Now, it might not be black and white like this today, right? It might not be black and white. What happens if we come down into the trend line, right? And then bounce? Well, that's another opportunity. The 2858, I'll still take that trade right now. The sentiment is changing, and I'm acting accordingly. I'm going to go over our possible entries in a second. Now, if I do get into a position, whether it's at 2889 or 2858, off of either one of those broken supports turned resistance, right? I'm not looking to take profit into the neckline. What I'm looking to, and I'm not telling you not to take profit, I'm just letting you know how I'm looking at the market and how I'm looking to manage my trade. What I will be doing at that point is move my stop loss to break even. If we get a break of this trend line, this could really open up the downside, and I will be looking to also add to a position if we get a retest of the broken trend line as resistance, and or if we get a test of the 2809 level as resistance. Those are two possible entries that I will be looking for to add to a position, right? So I'm not even there yet. I'm not in what should be a really nice entry, and now I have to do some work, right? That's what it takes. I'm not going to jump in here right now into the market. I'm going to wait and see if I get an entry. Is it possible this one gets away from me and just keeps trading down? Yeah, and to be honest, that would hurt a little bit because, when you spend your time really waiting for your spot and then your spot comes and you miss it, it's not easy. And there's nothing easy about trading. If you think trading is easy, or, if you think that I wish I had the trade, listen, I missed it. So you could sense a little bit of remorse in me, and that's because I work hard waiting for my trades to develop, and by the time I saw this, it had already fallen too far, and there was nothing I could do about it. So what's next for me? How do I get into this trade, right? I'm just going to recap with you really quick, leaving you here. We definitely had a bullish bias above this trend line, but we're coming up into an area of resistance. Now you could see over here, this trend line, I cloned it. You could see it also right here, right? You could see this is also where we're stopped at right now. I'll make it dark right now for you. Let me extend that further. I'm going to leave that in, I'm going to leave that in case we break down and come up and then that holds, right? I'll keep that in right now as a little bit of a guide. I made it darker over here to show everyone this morning that we were at resistance, both horizontal light resistance at 29.47 when everyone was looking this morning to go long on the S&Ps because the futures were up. As New York was opening, we brought this level into our attention, and then we started being rejected by it. I drew our little triangle, our consolidation pattern that we were looking for a breakout. We were looking to play it either way, either to the upside or downside. It broke down, and it broke down. The catalyst was actually the Senate introducing a bill to place sanctions on China. You could see the market sentiment shifting right now. I am looking, although I am, I'm not saying I'm not saying my bullish bias is gone. It's not until I break this trend line. But right now, I'm a swing trader, and the sentiment has gone south. I know why. It all makes sense. Powell's speaking tomorrow. Powell's on the calendar. How that is going to affect the equity markets, I don't know. He's going to be addressing, he's going to be talking down that, the implied rates going negative in December of 2020. I think that's really going to be more of a drag on gold. I don't know how it's going to affect the equity markets. My instinct is that what's going on right now, the escalation between China and the U.S. is a bigger deal. The U.S. also sent, a sign of force into the South China Sea. Things are brewing. Things are picking up. I like this. I like the smell of opportunity. I don't know what happens next. I do know that my points of entry, and I don't think we're going to get a chance to come back up here. I just don't think so. It could happen. If we come up and retest the 28.89 broken support as resistance, I'm looking for an entry. If we break down here below the support we're just hanging on right now at 28.58, come back up and test it, that's an entry for me. And or this trend line. If we lean into that trend line, those are all entries for me. If I do not get a chance to get any one of those, which is completely possible, and we come back down and test this trend line and break it, then I'm looking for a retest of that trend line and for an entry. So I am right now only looking for sell side trades. I'm only looking to do it off of any broken support turn resistance. I'm not going to chase the market. There's no way I'm going to chase the market. I missed my opportunity. It hurts. You could see the breakdown, the retest. This wasn't the time of day for me to trade. And then over here, this happened, I think it was somewhere around 3 o'clock. And then over here, I would have taken this entry. I missed it, and it hurts. And that's why I'm dwelling on it with you so that I can move on. But notice, I'm not going to chase the market. How many of you chase the market, right? Because you feel like you're missing out. Yeah, I'm missing out right now. This was the trade of the week right here. This was the entry of the week at least. Nevertheless, I'm going to do my best to make good on it and get in if possible. If anyone has any questions in the comments, please leave them. I'll clarify anything possible regarding this current situation. Hope you all are having a wonderful day, and I look forward to sharing more with you tomorrow morning. See you then.